Hi again, boys and girls. I'm here to read the next chapter, chapter 16. It's a long chapter, so we're going to read half of it today and half of it tomorrow. But this is chapter 16, Off to the Fair. And here we go. The night before the county fair, everybody went to bed early. Fern and Avery were in bed by 8. Avery lay dreaming that the Ferris wheel had stopped and that he was in the top car. Fern lay dreaming that she was getting sick in the swings. Lurby was in bed by 8:30. He lay dreaming that he was throwing baseballs at a cloth cat and winning a genuine Navajo blanket. Mr. and Mrs. Zuckman were in bed by 9. Mrs. Zuckman lay dreaming about a deep freezer unit, and Mr. Zuckman lay dreaming about Wilbur. He dreamt that Wilbur had grown until he was 116 feet long and 92 feet high, and that he had won all the prizes at the fair, and he was covered with blue ribbons and even had a blue ribbon tied to the end of his tail. Down in the barn cellar, the animals too went to sleep early, all except Charlotte. Tomorrow would be fair day, and every creature planned to get up early to see Wilbur off on this great adventure. When the morning came, everybody got up at daylight. The day was hot. Up the road to the Arbel's house, Fern lugged a pail of hot water to her room and took a sponge bath. Then she put on her prettiest dress because she knew she would see boys at the fair. Mr. Arbel scrubbed the back of Avery's neck and wet his hair and parted it and brushed it down hard till it stuck to the top of his head, all but about 6 hairs that stood straight up. Avery put on clean underwear, clean blue jeans, and a clean shirt. Mr. Arbel dressed, ate breakfast, and went out and polished his truck. He'd offered to drive everybody to the fair, including Wilbur. Bright and early, Lurvy put clean straw in Wilbur's crate and lifted it into the pig pen. The crate was green, and in gold letters it said, Zuckerman's Famous Pig. There he is. Charlotte had our Web looking fine for the occasion. Wilbur ate his breakfast slowly. He tried to look radiant without getting food in his ears. In the kitchen, Mrs. Zuckerman suddenly made an announcement. Homer, she said to her husband, I'm going to give that pig a buttermilk bath. A what? Said Mr. Zuckerman. A buttermilk bath. My grandmother used to bathe her pig with buttermilk when it got dirty. I just remembered that. Wilbur's not dirty, said Mrs. Zuckerman proudly. Well, he's filthy behind his ears, said Mrs. Zuckerman. Every time Lurvy slops him, the food runs down around his ears and dries and forms a crust. He also has a smudge on one side where he lays in the manure. He lays in clean straw, corrected Mrs. Zuckerman. Well, he's dirty, and he's got to have a bath. So Mr. Zuckerman sat down weakly and ate a donut. His wife went down to the woodshed. When she returned, she wore rubber boots and an old raincoat, and she carried a bucket of buttermilk and a small wooden paddle. Edith, you're crazy, mumbled Zuckerman. But she paid no attention to him. Together they walked to the pig pen. Mrs. Zuckerman wasted no time. She climbed in with Wilbur and went to work. Dipping her paddle in the buttermilk, she rubbed him all over. The geese gathered around to see the fun, and so did the sheep and the lambs. Even Templeton poked his head out cautiously to watch Wilbur get a buttermilk bath. Charlotte got so interested she lowered herself on her dragline so she could see better. Wilbur stood still and closed his eyes. He'd feel the buttermilk trickling down his sides. He opened his mouth and some buttermilk ran in it. And it was delicious. He felt radiant and happy. When Mrs. Zuckerman got through and rubbed him, he was the cleanest, prettiest pig you ever saw. There he is getting a buttermilk bath. He was pure white and pink around the ears and snout and smooth as silk. The Zuckermans went up to change into their best clothes. Lurvy went to shave and put on his plaid shirt and his purple tie. The animals were left to themselves in the barn. The 7 goslings paraded around their mother. Please, 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 please take us to the fair, begged the gosling. Then all 7 began teasing to go. Please, 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 please. They made quite a racket. Children, snapped the goose, we're staying quietly at home. Only Wilbur is going to the fair. Just then Charlotte interrupted. I shall go too, she said softly. I've decided to go with Wilbur. He may need me. We can't tell what may happen to the fairgrounds. Somebody's got to go along who knows how to write. I think Templeton better come too. I might need somebody to run some errands and do general work. I'm staying right here, grumbled the rat. I haven't the slightest interest in fairs. That's because you've never been to one, remarked the old sheep. A fair is a rat's paradise. Everybody spills food at a fair. A rat can creep out late at night and have a feast. In the horse barn, you'll find oats that are the trotters and the paces have spilled. In the trampled grass of the infield, you'll find old discarded lunch boxes containing the foul remains of peanut butter sandwiches, hard-boiled eggs, cracker crumbs, bits of donuts, particles of cheese. In the hard-packed drawer to the midway, after the glaring lights are out and people have gone home to bed, you'll find a veritable treasure of popcorn fragments, frozen custard dribblings, candied apples abandoned by tired children, fluffy sugar crystals, salted almonds, popsicles, partially gnawed ice cream cones, and the wooden sticks of lollipops. Everywhere is a loot for a rat. In tents, in booths, in haylofts. Why, a fair has enough disgusting leftover food to satisfy a whole army of rats. Templeton's eyes were blazing, and he was listening very carefully. Is this true, he asked? Is this appetizing yarn of yours true? I like high living. What you say tempts me. It is true, said the old sheep. Go to the fair, Templeton. You'll find that the conditions at a fair will surpass your wildest dreams. Buckets with sour mash, sticking to them, tin cans containing particles of tuna fish, greasy paper bags stuffed with rotten... That's enough, cried Templeton. Don't tell me any more. I'm going. Good, said Charlotte. We'll see you there at the fair. And we'll finish the rest of the chapter tomorrow. That's all for now, boys and girls. Have a good day. See you tomorrow.